Alright guys, so I'll try to explain this feature for you. The first measure is the run of 16th notes, 2 doubles, followed by a shotted paradiddle on drum 1. And then after that, you're going to play a paradiddle diddle diddle, starting on drum 4, but then the rest of the notes you're going to play on drum 2. So it's fairly simple. Shouldn't be that hard. So it's just, and then with a release on drum 1, of course. Alright. So the rhythm for the next measure, it's 1 and 1 and. Okay. So the way it works, it's right, right, left, left, right, 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 right. And you only want to skank the first 2 shots. That way the third one, you can just have both hands to transition over here for the next measure. So that way you're just ready. So it's going to go 1 and up and 1 up and 1. Okay guys, so measure 3 is almost the exact same thing as measure 1. It's the same rhythm and the same sticking. All you're doing is starting on drum 3. So you're going to start with 2 taps, just like before. Add the paradiddle, but this time the paradiddle, the accent is going to be on drum 1. It's written as a shot, but it's kind of impossible to play a shot like that. So just play an accent, strong accent, and then that's going to be followed by again the left paradiddle diddle diddle. Except you're just going to move over to drum 2 for the whole thing. So 2 taps, a paradiddle, and then you're going to move over for the left paradiddle diddle diddle. So, alright, so the next measure is a little bit tricky. You're going from a 16th note pattern to triplets, and this pattern is just a bit complicated, so just take it slow, kind of just break it down. So the first thing you can do is just take the first 2 beats, take out the shots and the diddles, just play on 1 drum, and just count triplet, triplet. That way when you play it fast, you can really count it in your head. Triplet, 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 triplet. And just really want that to fit. And maybe like turn on a met and then just see how that fits. Because once the tempo goes up, it's going to be a bit hard to follow. So just make sure you learn it slow before going fast. And then after you've finished like breaking that down and playing it slow and you got that pretty good, you're going to want to add on the diddles and the shots. So even before you go around the drums, just try the diddles and shots. So I'm just going to add the shots first just to see what it sounds like. So chipollet, chipollet. And then beats 3 and 4 of the 4th measure, they're going to be like triplets with heritas. So they're going to sound exactly like you're diddling the first partial of a triplet. So it's going to sound like, but you're just going to do straight sticking. So that's the one thing you can practice to get this to sound good. It's just practicing diddling that first partial and then adding the herita and just going back and forth and trying to make them sound exactly the same. And then once you have that down, you can add the accent. So in the music, you're going to have your right hand play on the left spock, and then your left hand's going to play on drum 4. And so it's going to sound like, but then you're going to accent all the notes that are played on the left hand, so it's going to end up sounding in total like. So breaking it down again, you got to diddle the first partial just to make sure you know what it sounds like. Put in the herita, go on the correct drums, and add the accent. Okay, so that's the next 2 beats of that measure. Moving on to measure 5, the rhythm is 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 and a 1. So you're going to play the 1 and on drum 4, and then beat 2, you're going to play a double stop with drums 3 and 4. So it's 1 and 2. And then you're going to play the of 2 on drum 2 with the left hand. And that's going to lead you into the next 2 beats. So it's going to be 1 and 2, a 3. That's how that's going to go. And then the next two beats are fairly simple. It's just 3 yin to 4 yin to 1. So beat 3 is just 4 16th notes going back and forth between drums 1 and 2. And then beat 4 is just going to go down the drums 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. So measure 6 and measure 7, the feature, they kind of correspond with each other with the fact that it's one long 16th note run with scrapes and crossovers. So one thing that's really going to help you is if you just go search on YouTube basic crossovers and scrape tutorial. It's very important that you know how to do those, because this is a very tough part. Yeah, that's very important. So what you want to do when you're learning these two measures is you want to learn it one beat at a time, one note at a time. So you want to know exactly where each note is placed and where to hit and when, so you can fully understand it. Because if not, it's not going to work the way you want it to. So really make sure you break it down, start at a slow tempo, and really just know exactly where each note is hit. So it starts off with just double stroke 16th notes, beats 1 and 2. So you're going to start on drum 2, and that's where beat 1's me played, and you're going to play beat 2 on 1. So it's me 1 yin, 2 yin, 1. Okay, and then this is where it actually gets really complicated. So that's the easy part, and then you're going to start going into scrapes. It'll take a long time for me to break this down for you, but I'll just try my best to do it efficiently. So it's going to be 1 yin, 2 yin, 3 yin, 4 yin, 1 yin, 2 yin, 3 yin, 4 yin, 1. Okay, so let's break that down. So 1 yin, 2 yin, we went over that. This is where the scrapes come in. You're going to scrape from 3 to 1, and you're going to cross over and then do strokes on 3. So 3 E and you're going to want to uncross. So you're going to take your right hand and you're going to want to sweep back over. So 4 E, and then you're going to play and on drum 1. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Okay? And then next part, you're at drum 1. You're going to start with the new measure. So you're going to start 1 E on drum 2 by crossing over after you have uncrossed here. So 1 E, and then you're going to want to sweep from 1 to 2 with your left hand, and then you're going to play 2 E, going back the other way, sweeping across from 2 to 1. Okay, 1 E and 2 E. Okay, and then so right after that, 1 E and 2 E and you're going to play the and of 2 on drum 2. And then you're going to play, this is where it gets a little bit easier. So 3 E is on drum 1, and of 3, drum 2, 4 E is on drum 1 again, and then and of 4 is on the left spock. So the 8th and final measure, you're going to want to start this off very slow, taking out the diddles, and just learning the 16th notes around the drums. So it's going to be 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. And really just look at the music, making sure you get every note right. Really dial that into your muscle memory, and put a met to it and try to make that faster, not even adding diddles yet. So make sure you completely have that muscle memory down of just being able to play that 16th note run without any problems. And then once you have that, you can add the diddles, but don't start adding them at show tempo. Don't start adding them at 152 BPM or whatever. Go slow. Like that was fairly slow. So really just make sure you know what you're doing slow before turning it into something fast. Because if you do that, it's going to sound really good. And also, really please do practice with the met for this whole feature. I know a lot of people don't practice with the met, but this is really crucial to get the whole line to sound good, because this is a pretty complex feature, and as a line it's going to sound much better if everyone learns it with a metronome. It'll just make everyone have a better sense of time and just sound way better as a group. So make sure you set that as a priority, like now and the future, just to be a better drummer in general. So really just apply that, okay? I hope this helps you guys learn this feature.